So I was about 29, my wife was about 25, and we met at the old On the Square restaurant.
That was a good one.
At first we didn't really like each other.
Really?
I thought she was this major kugel, she thought I was this major bagel. So it was quite weird, and then we became friendly in a group. And to cut a long story short, I don't want to throw her under the bus, but she she stalked me, and she
Love that.
she went after me, and I'm a bit of a crazy nut. And the one day I just phoned her and I said, that's it, we're going out. Didn't ask her on a date, I didn't ask her for anything, I just said, that's it, we're going out. And she got such a shock, she didn't know how to answer it.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode. For this one we have Danny Shwer with us. Thank you so much for coming on, such an honor to have you.
Thank you for inviting me, it's an honor to be with you.
I'm sure it's going to be a great one.
I hope so.
I'm sure it will be. You always have amazing wisdom to share.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to your upbringing, if you don't mind. Will you tell us a little bit about your childhood and about just leading up to today, about your family?
For sure.
Yeah.
So, firstly, I'm 55 years old. I've got one sibling, her name's Tammy, and we grew up in Kew. I've got two amazing parents. My father had a very, very, very difficult upbringing. He had two deaf parents.
Wow.
Yeah, he had two deaf parents, was an only kid. And my mother also had a very, very hard upbringing.
Did they communicate with sign language?
Yeah, so that's where me and my sister learned to sign language.
You can do sign language?
Yeah, but only through the hands, not through the American way.
What's an American way?
The American way is they've got all the different signs, so we can sign through spelling out.
So you have to do each letter?
Yeah, so there's certain signs that you can do for certain things.
Will you show us?
Maybe later. Not so good at it.
You haven't practiced in a while.
Not so good, yeah. Both my parents had very, very difficult lives, and they came together, and thank God, most incredible parents, incredible marriage. They were a big role models for me and my sister and our families, and we got a lot of valuable lessons from them. My mother was and is a huge fighter. She grew up with absolutely nothing, and the business that we have today with the family was all because of my mother. She started it. Very passionate, very competent, amazing person. And my father is just so likable. Everybody likes him. Very soft, gentle. Growing up in the backgrounds, they came. Hashem's wisdom put them together. And thank God, incredible parents and incredible upbringing. Amazing. My mother taught us never, ever, ever to say things are bad. She for sure could have been the one person to say, sure, life's tough and life's this. But we always, from day one, were taught that however bad it is, it doesn't matter. Things are amazing.
Wow.
And she taught us all, and
that makes sense now because that's how you.
So that's all from
your
my
philosophy.
Mother. That's my philosophy, and that's all from my mother. And my father's a very likable person. Everybody loves him. Amazing, amazing human being. And thank God, between the two of them, we've been given incredible lessons.
Amazing. Okay, and then will you just take us to how you met your wife?
Sure. So I was about 29. My wife was about 25. And we met at the old On the Square restaurant.
That was a good one.
At first we didn't really like each other.
Really?
I thought she was this major kugel, she thought I was this major bagel. So it was quite weird, and then we became friendly in a group. And to cut a long story short, I don't want to throw her under the bus, but she stalked me, and she
Love that.
She went after me, and I'm a bit of a crazy nut. And the one day I just phoned her and I said, that's it, we're going out. Didn't ask her on a date, I didn't ask her for anything, I just said, that's it, we're going out. And she got such a shock, she didn't know how to answer it. And Baruch Hashem, 25 years later, 6 kids.
Amazing.
Baruch Hashem, I couldn't have asked for anyone else, and I couldn't have married anyone else. So
she
I'm very
is an
blessed.
amazing woman.
I'm very blessed, very blessed.
And how old were you when you started dating?
So I was engaged when I was 22, broke it off a few months later, and then my 20s was a very, very difficult time. emotionally up and down. My Yiddishkeit was very up and down, and I didn't know really where I was and found myself. My 20s was the most difficult time of my life.
Really?
And I look back in retrospect, and Baruch Hashem, the people that I'm able to help today was 100% because of what I went through. It was very tough at the time, but I look back and I'm very grateful for what I went through.
So is that what made you want to help people with dating, relationships, marriage?
Yes.
Was it your experience?
Great question, because once I'd been through that, I realized a hell of a lot of lessons. You go through certain things in your life and it's often very, very, very tough. Mm-hmm. But at the end goal is there's light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized from that age, from about 29, 30, that I really want to make a difference and be able to help other people. And
so you started then?
A little bit then, and then just as things went on, I was able to do more and more.
Amazing.
But it also
and you do this completely like as a side thing. This isn't your.
Yeah,
you're not a therapist.
I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't charge. I just do it as a passion, and I want to be able to help as many people as possible. And I think
I know personally you've helped so many people. You've helped so many of my friends. You've helped me a lot. So you're doing an amazing thing.
I appreciate it. And so that's my goal. There's nothing more rewarding for me when I see a healthy individual getting married or a healthy individual preparing to get married.
Yeah.
So that has been the main thing for me, to be able to give over from all the difficult lessons that I learned and be able to give it over in a positive way.
That's amazing. And do you find there's something specific that's like you find in all the couples that you help that are like people are struggling with in relationships, whether it's dating, marriage?
So it's a very good question, because I personally think it starts a little bit before that. Mm-hmm. You have to be healthy and you have to be in touch with yourself before you start dating. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times girls go to SEM and guys go to yeshiva and they come back with all these ideologies and there's all these brainwashed ideas. and
you're very vocal about what you think about SEM and yeshivas.
Yeah, because unfortunately I think they talk I've seen a lot and I've seen a lot of unhealthiness.
Can you give us examples of things that you've seen where you feel like that's brainwashing?
So often what happens, a girl will go to SEM and she'll have this ideology that she has to marry a guy in learning. Mm-hmm. Not saying that learning is not right, and learning for some people is amazing. Yeah. And for some girls, they've really got this mindset that they have to have a guy in learning, and that can be okay. Mm-hmm. But for a very small minority of people.
Right.
Not for the majority.
But they make it sound like everyone should marry a guy.
Right, and they make it sound that this is the end goal for everybody, and that's unhealthy.
Yes.
And a lot of girls will go and they are looking for guys that are in the box, that are black and white, and it's not for everybody. It is for a very small amount of people, and it's made to believe that this is right for everybody.
Yeah. I also think a big problem with that is that they emphasize the fact that they should marry a guy in full-time learning, and there's not enough emphasis on you should marry a guy that's going to treat you well, that's going to make you happy, that you're going to be able to have a happy, healthy relationship with.
100%. And that's where
they're focused on the wrong things.
Right. So I'm very much very chazak on that. Mm-hmm. That the girls, especially that I deal with, have to look for the right things. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't get up in the morning and go to bed and go on holiday and get up for breakfast and lunch and supper with the Gemara and with the black hat. You get up with somebody who's a mensch and is Baal Chesed and who's going to make you priority, and make you a queen. And the biggest success for me is when my girls marry a guy, whoever it may be, who treats him like a queen, who treats him like a diamond. For me, that's where my emphasis lies.
That is the most important thing, for sure.
Right. And people lose focus because you're living with this person every minute, every day for the rest of your life, and people lose focus of what's right or wrong.
Yeah. I've also had friends who marry this guy that's in full-time learning, black hat, the whole thing, and often these guys will actually use the Torah to manipulate their wives.
Correct.
And obviously not everyone's like that. I mean, you know, my dad's a rabbi. He's the most phenomenal person. He treats my mom like a queen. So obviously I'm not saying everyone, but it does happen a lot where people will be like, oh, he must be a great guy because he's wearing a black hat and he goes to shul 3 times a day, and people don't see behind the scenes. And sometimes it's really bad.
So the end goal is all that counts. You know, the Torah learning is everything, and your relationship with Hashem is everything, but it's not the end goal. The real relationship is how do you treat your wife. Your wife is ahead of your Torah learning, your davening, your relationship with Hashem. Your wife, as radical it is to say, your wife is ahead of Hashem. And you know why I can say that? Is because that's what Hashem would want. Shalom bayis is the most important thing in the world. You know, if you want a bracha from somebody, you go to a family where they've got shalom bayis. Why? Because that's where Hashem's neshama resides.
Yes.
And that for me is vital. When a man knows that his Torah is everything, and his learning is everything, and his davening is everything, but his wife is ahead of that, then you know you've got healthiness.
Amazing. Why do you think there are so many husbands who get it wrong? Like why are they not putting their wives first?
So I think, unfortunately, we not taught correctly. There are not enough role models. Men, unfortunately, are selfish. You know, a man's avoider in this world is to watch his eyes. And unfortunately, with the social media and the difficulties we have with porn and all that type of thing, men have a very difficult time putting their wives first. The woman's avoider is to let go and surrender, and that's her avoider. And a man, as I said, his avoider is to watch his eyes. The men, unfortunately, get it wrong because a man wants physical from his wife, and then he'll give her love. The opposite with a woman. She wants love, and then she'll be physical with the husband. So a lot of the times the men haven't been taught correctly that whether it's emotional or physical, the wife comes first. And that's unfortunately where I think a lot of men get it wrong. They are often taught that it's all about them and it's all their needs and their physical needs and what they need and what they need to do. And the woman needs to be there for them. I think unfortunately that's today why you've got 60% plus divorce because of that theory. If men would realize that their wife's a queen and she's number one and she's there, she's the priority, I don't think you would have half of the divorces today.
Do you find that most of the divorces happen because of this, because of the men being selfish?
So I generally believe, my general perception is that 90 to 95% of divorces are because of the man. I think 5 or 10% of divorces are because of the woman, or maybe she's, I don't know, she's crazy or she's cooked or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of the relationship and the marriage lies on the man.
I completely agree. Yeah, I've seen it with my friends. I mean, it's like crazy to me. And people say, yeah, well, you haven't heard his side of the story. But I'm like, I've heard enough from her side to know.
It doesn't matter from her. Doesn't matter from his side. Because at the end of the day, if she's not feeling, again, brocha in the world comes from the woman. And the woman only gets her brocha from her husband.
Yeah.
So if the woman's neshama is shining, and she's priority, and she's queen, and she's the diamond, that's where the bracha will come from. And then there'll be complete.
So do you think the men expect the woman to kind of be in charge of the relationship and like leave they kind of don't take enough responsibility for the shalom bayis in the home?
I think the majority, as I said, relies on the man. Obviously, the woman needs to play a role and the man needs to do his thing.
Of course. Yeah.
But the man needs to take responsibility. He needs to be the man. But again, his main focus is got to be his wife, especially with kids. Kids don't learn from words. Kids learn from actions. And the security and the composure and the... not sure of the word I'm looking for, but the upliftment of the family comes from the shalom bayis, which again comes from the husband treating the woman correctly. Once that is there, the kids become secure. Security comes from parents' shalom bayis.
For sure, yeah. And Leonard Carr said something so amazing in the podcast. He said sometimes shalom bayis is getting divorced.
Yes, it definitely can, because oftentimes...
Because shalom is the goal.
Right. And if there's no shalom, and I've seen many times where parents stay together because of the kids, and the kids land up worse because there's no shalom bayis, and that makes the kids incredibly insecure. You know, when a kid doesn't grow up in a home where there's togetherness, it creates incredible insecurity, anxiety, insecurity, very, very bad for a kid.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you help couples when they come to you and they're having these issues, they're having problems with shalom bayis, they're not seeing eye to eye? What do you advise them to do?
Look, again, the main thing I would do is sit with them separately, see what the issues are, and I would generally take the man to task. He needs to shift himself. If she's behaving in a nutty way, well, then she also has to take responsibility and realize but generally, I've seen it. It's the men not watching their eyes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of from men around there who are addicted to porn and watching porn. It's not okay.
Is it very common?
It's common. Yeah. It's common. I mean, 95% of kids today cross the spectrum, from or not from, are watching porn. As young as 10 years old, I'm dealing with. It's dangerous. Social media and porn are a very dangerous part of life in society today. Yeah. And that all lies on the man. Women generally don't have these type of problems. Woman just wants to be loved and cherished and nurtured and, treated in the right way. The men have this major yetzer hara, and it has to be dealt with. It isn't dealt with in the correct way because it's not taught to these kids correctly from a school level. Because it's such a grey area.
People don't speak about it. It's so taboo. They'd rather just bury their head in the sand.
Rabbis, Rebbitzins are pushing it aside. It is changing a little bit today, and even in the marriage courses today, you've got some unbelievable people. You've got Rabbi Daniel Altschler and his wife, who are incredible. And you've got Simone Hope, incredible. They're telling the girls and the guys exactly what it is. Yeah. So, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. The guys need to be taught from day one. Shmiras Hanayim is number one. No wife wants a husband running around and looking around and eyes here and eyes there. And unfortunately, with the access of social media and the instant gratification, it's very, very tough. Yeah. Very, very, very tough.
Okay. And in terms of that, you help couples as well navigate dating. You coach them through their dating experiences.
So I try navigate before they get married, before they even start dating.
So like when they come back from Sem or Yeshiva, is that the best time?
Yes, that's the best time when they come back from Sem to get them healthy, to get them to looking for the right the right guys, the right questions, the right infrastructures, and generally the ones that have listened and follow advice, and generally they remain healthy. Unfortunately, a lot of times, and guys more than girls, they think they know it all. They think they know what to look for, especially the guys. They know what to look for. They don't really think there's an issue, and then they just go ahead, and then they start realizing that 1 week into the marriage, what went wrong? Nothing went wrong. Now reality sets in. The girls are much more insistent on what to look for and what should I be asking, and is this right? Is this wrong? Am I attracted enough? So the girls are much more...
They're asking the questions more than the guys. Yeah, amazing. A big thing that you talk about is gratitude. That's something you really emphasize. Can you share how gratitude helps a person be happy?
So gratitude is actually everything. I relate everything to a father-child relationship. If you take 2 children, and one child is incredibly grateful to their father and one isn't so, which child do you tend to want to give more to? Obviously, the one who's more grateful. It's the same with Hashem. Hashem takes care of all his children. The one who's got gratitude for everything, the good, and especially when things don't seem so good, there's much more of an energy in the air for Hashem to want to push more to that person. So the main thing I encourage my girls, especially the ones between 23 and 30 or older, that especially when they're looking, you're in this situation because this is where Hashem wants you to be, and you have to have gratitude for that. We've got a beautiful book here, Say Thank You and See Miracles, which I often like to give to my girls and guys, which is an incredible book written by Rav Arush, and everything has to be from a point of gratitude. Gratitude brings bracha into the world, and complaining brings the opposite. And we want to bring bracha, and bracha is through the gratitude. So when things are not going so well, and you're 24, 25, 26, and you're still looking, it's very easy to become despondent and, what's going on in my life. But when you can shift your mind into gratitude and realizing this is all for the good, It's all from Hashem. It's all out of love. And you can actually internalize it. You know, there's knowing something and there's internalizing it. When you know something, it's okay. When you're internalizing, it's a completely different ballgame.
So what practical advice can you give to someone to help them with gratitude?
For me personally, what shifted my life was personal prayer. So to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes a day on your own, sitting with Hashem, thinking about every little bit of bracha you have in your life, from the moment you get up to the moment you go to sleep, you know, every single thing has to be shifted into gratitude. And then you take on one thing, as Rabbi Nachman says, take on one point in your life that you need to work on. If it's a person who's looking for a shidduch, take on that point. Hashem, you know that I need to get married. You know, Hashem knows everything. Hashem is Ein Od Milvado. But we need to show Hashem, you know what, just like all the brachas in the world you've given me, I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the fact that right now I'm single and you'll give me the guy in the right time. And you have to be grateful for that. And you have to internalize that gratitude. A lot of times we get stuck in our own misery and we can't get past that gratitude because we think that Hashem is, running our lives incorrectly or running it wrong.
Yeah. And have you seen it with your couples where when they start having gratitude and getting rid of that victim mentality, have you seen
Definitely.
how bracha comes into their lives?
Definitely.
Okay.
They're much more healthy individuals. You know, when you're grateful for everything, especially the not so good in your life, you become a much more healthier individual. You know, gratitude will bring healthiness, obvious. Yeah. And if you're complaining, it's going to bring unhealthiness, obviously. But it's tough. And that's why I personally believe every person, every couple, you need a mentor to guide you, because it's very easy to get swallowed into the negativity.
Yeah.
You know, you're not getting what you want and you start thinking Hashem's not running the world correctly. Hashem's not making mistakes. We have to change. Hashem's not going to change. Yeah. We have to change and we have to shift our mindset.
So if people want to reach out to you for guidance, how can they reach you?
So they're very welcome. Thank God my phone's on 24 hours a day. People phoning me all hours from all over the world. I'm very happy to give you my number and
I'll post your email or whatever in the description.
Yeah,
and if they want to
phone
reach
me.
out
I'll
to
give you my WhatsApp. They're very welcome to reach out and talk to me whenever they want.
Okay, amazing. You often speak about how harmful guilt and victim mentality can be. How do you help people shift away from these negative patterns?
So I try to help my guys realize that guilt, 99% of the time, is very negative. Very, 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 very negative force for most people. You know, a lot of guys come see me and a lot of youngsters come see me where they're falling into the desires, they're watching things they shouldn't be watching and they're falling. However, I'm not here to tell them that it's okay that you can do this and do this, but I try and help them to realize you're human, you're allowed to make a mistake. Hashem's a loving Father. Hashem's got patience. Hashem is waiting for us to return. Hashem knows we're going to fall, but what's more...
Right, it says that tzaddik falls 7 times.
Right, but what's worse for Hashem is when we get saddened by our avera.
So is that the Yetzer Hara, do you think? When people feel guilty, they think that's going to actually help, and it's really
it's so negative. And that's where, for me, Rabbi Nachman was unbelievable. He said that it doesn't matter how low he falls, he'll always get up and start again. And he had an amazing point that he would start again and again, and sometimes 100,000 times a day. That's healthiness.
Yeah.
You know, where a lot of times kids will think, I've fallen. Guys, girls, I've done this wrong, I've done that wrong, I'm nothing. That's totally negative. When you realize I made a mistake, I'm human, all Hashem wants. You know, I built a 12-point program on how you live a healthy life with Hashem. The first point is tshuva. The first, all a parent wants...
It's actually perfect timing to speak about that now that we're in Elul. Speaking about children.
The first point a parent wants is their child to say sorry. They don't want you. Hashem doesn't want you to beat yourself up and to get into a guilt mode and become depressed. It's not what Hashem wants. And that's not what a parent wants.
Yeah.
Hashem's the ultimate parent. The main thing is Hashem wants you to just say sorry. I made a mistake. I won't do it again. That's it. And that's what I try to teach my guys. You're human. You're allowed to make a mistake. You're normal. You fell. Just say sorry. Pick yourself up and start again. That's healthiness. A lot of times guys get too sucked into the guilt.
In your 12-step program, you speak about, I think it's the last one, is about making a difference in this world, which you obviously are doing by helping people with their relationships and helping them create shalom bayis. How can people make a difference in this world?
So, great question. Every single person has their own diamond. What I try to do with my 12-pointer is I want people to live a simple life of bringing brocha into the world for them. Very, very simply. The 11 points are all very simple and very gettable. But the main point at the end of the day, the goal is to make a difference. Every single person has their own diamond and has their own strength where they can make a difference. A person has to be an adult, and that's part of the 12-pointer. We've got to be healthy adults in this world. The most important thing as a parent is to create healthy children. And I'm trying to, with the guys that I'm dealing with, is to create healthy individuals who can actually recognize their diamond point and to go into the world and to make a difference, which is the key. I personally, and I believe that, all the Torah in the world and all the mitzvahs in the world and everything, it's all amazing. It's all amazing. Hashem created a perfect world. But we need to be partners with Hashem in the world. And we're only going to be partners with Hashem in the world once we've learned His Torah, done mitzvahs, but shifted it. The learning Torah and the chesed and the mitzvahs are all unbelievable. But I don't believe it's not the end goal. The end goal is to go out there and make a difference in the world, in people's lives.
So is it about helping others, seeing?
Yeah. So some people would say that's mitzvahs. I see it as differently. I see it as
more chesed, I guess.
Yeah. Some people see it like that, but I see it as different. Your where's your consciousness? Where's your mindset? Mm-hmm. So when you're learning Torah or you working, where's your mindset? So
it's the more that the goal should be to make a difference in the world.
Right. It doesn't matter what you do. Whether you're learning or you're working or you're doing anything, the focus at the end of the day has to be in front of you. How can I make a difference? When you get to a robot and you greet somebody, nothing wrong with a smile, that's making a difference. Yeah. When you're learning Torah and your main objective of learning Torah is to give it over so that someone else can grow, making a difference.
So often it's in the small things. It's not everyone is made to be a speaker or a
Correct. I'm very much about the small things. Especially, it's a good thing that you mentioned, especially in dating. I look for the small things. Mm-hmm. I don't look for big things, because big things don't mean anything. The small things for me will count.
Okay, so when someone's in dating, do you encourage them to think about those small things?
Definitely. Yeah. Small things are vital.
Like, how do they treat the waiter, and
Correct.
How do they greet people, and do they...
Got it, on the button. On the button. At the end of the day, the guy comes to you with a big bowl of flowers, that's wonderful. But when you get to the car and the guy's there, does he greet the guard in a respectful way? Does he treat the waiter well? Does he give a tip? Is he gentle? Is he kind? Or is he rough and aggressive? For me, I look for those type of things, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to be important at the end of the day. The big diamond rings and the big jewelry.
Yeah. I once also saw in a podcast that said that how someone drives tells so much about their personality, because they're not conscious about impressing you when they're driving to or back from the date.
Right.
They're just in their normal state. They kind of forget that you're there and that you're watching. So if you watch them and see, do they get angry? Are they patient? Are they, you can tell a lot about someone just based on their driving. I thought that was really interesting.
Very good. I like that a lot.
What daily habits do you recommend for people to do to just help them live a happier, healthier life for themselves and within their relationship?
So, like we said, with gratitude, with my 12-pointer, maybe we can do it another time. Every moment of the day is an opportunity.
I just realized I called it 12 steps. That's an alcohol thing. 12,
could also be
12-pointer.
12 steps, 12-pointer, doesn't matter. Every moment is an opportunity for us to grow. We're in this world for so short. When I was 20, I thought, I'm invincible, we're going to live forever. We ain't living forever, and we've got a short amount of opportunity. And that's why, for me, the focus in front of you every second is how can I make a difference is so vital. So from the moment I get up in the morning, you have to have a structure, you have to have a routine, you have to be looking out for others. It can't be about me. When it's about me, then I become a taker. I'm a taker in the world, and that's the last thing you want to be. You want to be partners with Hashem. Hashem's the ultimate giver. Mm. And there, from the moment I get up in the morning, how can I be a giver? How can I make a difference? How can I provide? How can I do things for others? That is the vital step. That is the vital step. For example, and I'll just go through because you mentioned it, the 12 steps. Every time you go to the bathroom, we've got Asher Yatzar. Asher Yatzar is the most beautiful brocha. Hashem is helping our organs work beautifully. A lot of times what happens is people aren't well. They'll go to a gadol, and the gadol will say, you need to say Asher Yatzar slowly and in the right way. Why wait till you're not well? You've got an opportunity every single time you go to the bathroom to say Asher Yatzar, connect to Hashem, and say thank you.
And that goes back to the whole gratitude thing as well.
Exactly.
Like you don't realize the little things that Hashem does for you every single day.
Exactly. It's the same as benching. When you bench, all the brachas in the world are in benching.
Yeah.
Benching is Darasa and Amidah is the Rabbanan. A lot of rabbis, it's more important to bench than to the Amidah. So, as I said, the brachas are in the benching. So bench slowly, Hashem is giving you your food. And these are part of the 12 steps. Simple points where we're recognizing that it's all from Hashem. It's all out of love. How can I connect to it? How can I create the kli? How can I create the vessel to chap onto the bracha? Yeah. And that becomes very, very important. And obviously all of it is gratitude. For the men in the 12-pointer is watching your eyes. For a woman is sniyut, tehillim, personal prayer, which is one of my favorites. Getting your own time to talk to Hashem, building a healthy relationship. And at the end of the day, the whole point all about making a difference. Mm-hmm. Putting it all together into making a difference.
Amazing. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
So one thing with regards to dating, I have 3 main things that I push my guys to look for. Number 1 is they have to be attracted. Attraction is different for most people, but that's a non-negotiable. Attraction is a non-negotiable. Second non-negotiable is the person has to be Bal Chesed, has to have good qualities, has to be kind, caring, giving. And the last one, once those 2 have been established, the key, if you don't get anything out of this podcast, remember this point, the key to a healthy relationship and marriage is to be flexible and easygoing. Things happen and 100,000 things can happen. But when you're flexible and easy and you realize it is what it is and you let it go, that is the most healthy tool. I'll never forget Rabbi Yehuda Horowitz actually taught this to me probably 30, 35 years ago. I'll never forget it. And the relationships that I've dealt with and I've seen, this is the key point. Nothing else. For me, this is the number 1. Once you've established the attraction and the midos, this is the number 1.
Well, they say flexibility is how you know that someone is mentally healthy.
Yeah.
Someone who struggles with their mental health will often be very rigid.
Right. So it's the most. I'm very blessed. My wife is the most easygoing, flexible person, and I've seen it in my life, and I've seen it from the people that I deal with and the people that I push this point onto. All the relationships that I deal with that are flexible and easy, 99% are very healthy. 99% are very healthy. The problems come in when the person's too intense and too hectic and too rigid and too watching the person and not forgiving and, if there's one point to remember, this is the key point.
And what do you tell your girls to look out for in the guys that they're dating?
So definitely.
Is it the same for both?
Guys, more...
Or do you feel like attraction for women can grow?
So that's right. It's a great point. A guy has to be attracted generally from day 1. A girl can grow to attraction, and I've dealt with a lot of relationships where I've advised the girls who are 60-70% attracted, now you need to become more vulnerable. And once a girl becomes more vulnerable, then the emotions and the infatuation can grow. Mm-hmm. When you're closed and you're not vulnerable, very hard to get that to the next level. And a lot of the times when we've advised the girls to become a little bit more vulnerable, not too vulnerable, but a little bit more vulnerable as time goes along, I've seen the traction grow and I've seen the relationship grow.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you say to girls then to look out for in guys when they're dating?
So for a girl, definitely a girl needs to be attracted, but not as attracted as the guy.
Or is it more attracted from an emotion? Is it more like
Yeah.
they need to feel safe emotionally?
Correct. So girl gets more attracted to the middle of the guy, the gentle, the kind. You know, guys generally, as we said, guys are physical, they want to be attracted. The girls don't need to be as attracted, however, they do need to be attracted. And then they need to look for the right qualities. As I said from the beginning, small things, not big things.
Yeah.
Going to look for the big things. And the most important thing, there has to be a flexibility. The person needs to become your best friend. You're going to be spending every moment for the rest of your life with this person. So if you don't have a chemistry and you don't have a bond and you don't connect and have fun together, there's going to be problems. There's going to be problems. I'm not saying it's all about fun and games, but you need to be able to go out and have fun together and relax and be yourself.
For sure, yeah. Again, it's all about the little things when it comes to dating, relationships, life.
Anything,
Yeah.
even a friendship.
Yeah.
Little things are important.
Yeah.
Just a phone call to say to a friend, I was just thinking of you, how you doing? It's the
Small
world.
things make such a big difference.
Yeah, the big things for me are not big.
Yeah.
The small things are the big things.
100%. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you
for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I learned so much from this. It was amazing.
Thank you for having me, and an honor to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll please God see you on the next one.